And here we go, everyone.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, good morning. Trisha, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Dr. R.
You are especially sunny this morning.
Because I'm tan and I'm back from vacation.
You're somewhat tan. You're back from vacation. Are you glad
Yep,
you're back, or would you have
I
preferred to
am.
stay there?
I'm good. I like to be away, but I also like to come home and sleep in my own bed and get back into routine. So I'm happy to be home.
Before you left, and this is
Hmm.
let's be a little tangential here, right? This doesn't
Yeah.
have to do directly with what we're going to talk about. But before you left, you cleaned your whole house, didn't you?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, why?
For all the people that were going to be here while I was away.
Wait,
I'm just kidding.
what?
I always say that. I'm like, I always clean for all the people that'll be here when I'm away. But I love to clean my house spotless before I go away. So when I come home, everything's nice and tidy and I don't have to worry about cleaning up. I just have to put everything away.
Got it. And so,
Yep.
had you not done that, and had you
Oh,
come back to a home that was not tidy,
yep.
what would be the difference in how you feel?
Oh, I would not be, I probably wouldn't even be able to go to bed last night. I probably would have been doing all the things, but I know like when I wake up and I'm finished with all the things this morning, I can put away all the clean clothes because we also rented a house on vacation. So when we washed all our laundry, even though that's all done. So I just have to put everything away and easy peasy morning. Come home to a nice clean house, nothing extra to do today on a Monday morning. It'll be nice and easy.
Well, here's what I want to know. What do you think that that does for your physiology? You understand this word physiology?
Like for my like mental being.
No, 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 no. Let's look up physiology.
All right, look that up.
I'm looking it up right now. I believe in looking up words we don't understand.
Yeah.
Okay, the definition of physiology is the branch of biology that deals with the normal functions of living organisms and their parts, all
Hmm.
right, or the way in which a living organism or bodily part functions.
Hmm.
So this is about your physical body. What does it do for your physical body when everything is prepared, clean, in place, when you don't have to come home to what you would consider a mess?
Right. I think it makes me more relaxed,
Okay,
easier to
good.
go to bed. I was caught like we came in and every we came in very late last night, about 1 o'clock. And then we all kind of just went to bed. It was easy. I didn't have to like stress out about anything. I felt relaxed walking in the door, nothing out of place. It was made
Okay.
me very relaxed and happy.
And so would you say that because you were more relaxed, you breathe better?
Yeah, I think so.
If
No
you had
stress.
come home, if you had come home to a house that was in disarray, would your heart have started beating harder or faster?
Probably. I would have been anxious.
Right.
I probably would have started cleaning at 1 o'clock in the morning. So that alone makes it worth it. Staying up late prior to leaving, everything was nice in order.
Okay, good. So this kind of dovetails into what we're talking about today. We're talking
Mm,
about healthy heart habits. And it seems to me that you doing what you did in order to minimize your stress is an example of a healthy heart habit, even though we might not think of it as such.
Hmm, I like it.
It wasn't part of your thought process.
It was not.
My
No, it was not.
my cardiologist says that I need to clean before I go away on vacation.
Steam my floors, make the beds. Yeah, definitely.
It just gives you that good feeling of
Yeah,
calm. But
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
funny though. You ever notice how certain mental states are associated with certain physical symptoms or certain organs?
Hmm. Absolutely.
I mean, there's a reason that we have expressions like broken heart. You know,
Mm,
there's a reason
yeah,
that stress affects the heart, right? Uh,
yeah.
and so I think that people need to take that into account when they're thinking about their heart and their health. And let's do a little background on this, right? So the number one killer in this country is what?
Is it heart disease?
Heart disease is considered the number one killer,
Hmm.
right? And then cancer is considered number two, and number three
Oh
is
wow.
actually like doctor or medical induced death,
Mm,
right? Oddly enough, but that's a whole other subject. But the point is that the top killers in this country are considered lifestyle diseases, right? To some degree,
yeah.
we bring them upon ourselves. It doesn't mean there's not a genetic component, but it just means that to a great degree we bring them upon ourselves.
Yeah,
And
I think
it's
definitely.
true of diabetes as well. It's true of obesity, which can, obviously set
Hmm.
the ground for all of these things.
Of course.
So knowing that, it would obviously behoove us to take care of our heart health. And to most people, heart health is considered health, period, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
If someone asks you, how healthy are you? What might you tell them?
I would myself, I would say I'm pretty healthy. I
Based
try to
on,
live a healthy lifestyle. Mhm.
yeah, I find most people, if I ask that question, the first thing they talk about is their blood work and their blood pressure. Right? How healthy are you? Well, I'm healthy. My blood pressure is 120 over 80, or
Right.
uh,
All the
or,
levels are in the green.
yeah,
Right.
my cholesterol is in the normal range, right? So
Mm.
to a lot of people, heart health is health. Period. It's
Mm.
what we think about when we think about health. We think about a strong cardiovascular system. I work out. I do cardio, right?
Mm. Yeah.
That's the kind of exercise. Why does someone do cardio? To strengthen their heart and cardiovascular system. So this is really getting to the heart of the matter. Pardon me. We have to have a strong ticker, don't we?
Yes. I agree. Yep.
Okay, I'm glad you agree. Thank you. You kind of have. You don't have much of a choice. So let me ask you this, and I want to get into a great story we have about a client, one of your favorites, Neil.
I love Neil.
I want to talk about. I gave just the first name, so nobody knows who this is necessarily.
Yep.
But he's a super. Actually, let's just talk about that now. Do
Okay,
you
good.
know what has happened with Neil? Are you aware of this?
I'm not aware of. I'm aware of how fabulous he looks from when he started. In the few months, more than a few months ago when he started his first round, he looks amazing. What a difference! Everything about him.
He does look terrific. Everything, right? So beyond the looks, what else? What else have you experienced?
I feel like he looks more alive when he comes. He's like talkative and he looks great. Like I really just everything about him is different.
He's brighter. He's more present.
Mhm.
Calmer, right? All of these things.
Yep.
So this particular gentleman is an older gentleman. He's in his 70s. Although the
Mm.
closer I get to that, the more I want to say that's not an older person,
Mm.
but it is
I agree.
older, right? Certainly not
All
old.
right.
Um, and he is literally more alive. He has more life in him. And I'll give you some specifics you may not know about. First of all,
Yeah.
he's been telling me this. He's like, he keeps telling me, I feel like I've woken up.
Mm.
This is not the kind of thing people come to us for the most part to lose weight, and he's saying he feels like he's woken up. Uh, his heart rate has improved.
Wow.
So he normally his heartbeat is in like the 40s.
Oh, wow.
Now it's in the 60s.
Wow.
Yeah, so his
Wow.
heart rate has improved, as has his blood pressure improved.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, and that's why we see a more alive human being in front of us. I mean, if the ticker is suppressed, how
Yeah.
alive is the person going to be? By the way, what is the purpose of the heart and cardiovascular system?
Keep us alive.
Keeping us alive, right? But more specifically than that, what is it? And I don't mean to put you on the spot and make this like
No.
an anatomy and physiology class, but sometimes we talk about things and we forget what it involves, right? But
Right.
the heart is pumping blood through our
Very.
bodies. It's
Mhm.
super important that that happens, right? The blood carries oxygen,
Oxygen. Mhm.
right? So if our tissues are getting oxygen to them, then they are alive. If
Right.
tissues do not have iron, it's one of the things they need. They need other things, right? They need
Right,
nutrients,
of
they
course.
need water. If the tissues are not getting the oxygen, then obviously they're going to be less alive. They're going to
Right.
start that process of decaying and degenerating. So that is the importance of the heart. When people talk about it, there's a reason it's located right in the center here of our chest because it's constantly pumping out that blood. and circulating it throughout our bodies, right? So it's
Right.
not just the heart; it's a whole communication system. The It's called cardiovascular because vascular, those are the blood vessels, right? Those are the
Right.
carriers. So it's important when we think about it to do the whole thing. Now, what do you generally hear when you go to see your doctor or you take
Mhm.
kids? And what do you generally hear about heart health? Do they talk about it? If they do, what do they say?
Um, they really don't, but I guess tying into, keeping yourself active and taking care of your weight wise and that kind of stuff. I guess that all ties into the health, to the heart, I would assume. Physical exercise, definitely. Nothing ever directly said to me personally about my heart, though.
Is it a concern for women as much as it is for men? I feel like it's something that you usually associate with men of a certain age,
Mm.
says a man of a certain age. Uh, I feel like that. Now, is that your impression as well? Obviously, you have a husband. So, are these conversations that you have? Is this something that do you think about actively heart health?
Um, I'll be honest, not really. I mean, I did have, some family members that have had issues over the years, blood pressure, or my grandmother had 2 heart aneurysms that she survived through. So I guess it's always kind of in the back of my head, but I mean, I never really thought about it too much. But I get it is, obviously important. I just never really think much about it
Well, of
at
course,
this point.
until there's a topic created by Jack
Right.
that's called heart health, and then we have to think about it consciously. But normally we don't,
Yeah.
except that everyone has been touched by heart disease to some
Yep.
degree. There's not a family in this country, I'm going to guess, that doesn't have someone who passed away because of some heart related condition.
Right.
Right? I mean, like you
Mhm.
were just saying, you have family members
Yep.
that have suffered from it. We all know people who have died of heart attack. My next door neighbor growing up, my age, several years ago, died from a heart attack.
Wow.
That is a wow. That is a super sobering thing
Yep.
when you don't consider the possibility, even. You know, men don't consider the possibility of dying until
Mm.
they're about 40. Like before then, it doesn't occur to us. Like we're going to be young, healthy, good looking, strong forever.
Yeah.
And then at about 40, it occurs to us, oh my God, I'm 40. If I play it right, maybe I'll be 7. But you could see it. Like you could just, you know,
Mm.
climbing a ladder, right? You
Yeah.
can just see the bottom of 70.
Right.
When you hit 40, and you know that, and you hear about stories, people your age who are getting sick or dying. I know
Yep.
another guy I grew up with. I think he's alive, but I know he had a massive heart attack. I think he had a triple or
Wow.
quadruple bypass.
Wow.
It is really, really
So
big.
scary. Mhm.
Yeah, it is because the thing is that the engine is underneath the hood. And so there's no way necessarily. Oh, here's a nice stat for you. Uh, in 50% of cases of heart disease, do you know what the first symptom is?
50 cases?
50%.
Um,
Half the
50.
time, what's the first symptom?
I thought it was, is it this, like, the tired feeling? Isn't that one of them?
To an extreme.
Yeah.
So the first symptom of heart disease in half the cases is death.
Oh, death. Okay, well, yeah, that's extremely tired.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah. So
Yeah.
now that sounds crazy, and obviously we're going to have some fun with it because might as well, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so you don't necessarily know what's going on.
Yeah.
You have to take the right steps, and you do want to get your heart checked out. You do want to have your vitals. Vitals have to do with the heart and the lungs, pretty much. I mean, when they take your vitals, that's what
Yeah.
they're looking at, right?
Right.
So when you have heard from your doctor, about how to stay healthy or how to stay heart healthy, what have
Mm.
you generally heard?
I would say lose, keep your weight, at a healthy range, lose weight, get out and exercise, um, eat healthily. That's really it. Nobody has really ever mentioned anything more than that.
I think those basics, though, were pretty profound.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
mean, doing that stuff and also making sure to not come home to a messy household.
Yes, correct.
Uh,
Stress, yeah.
right, managing that. No,
Mhm.
I think it's a lot of it, right? I mean, medical science has certainly advanced. We probably know more now. I say probably. Uh, Most health outcomes are better now. Certainly, longevity is,
Yeah.
but uh, we're still learning things.
Yeah.
Things are still being promoted that may not
Mhm.
be the ideal things to promote.
Right.
So, so those basic things,
Mhm.
getting some exercise,
Yep.
that gets the heart pumping. That allows, the blood to go through your vessels to bring oxygen everywhere. That strengthens the cardiovascular system. The heart is a muscle,
Yep.
right? What else were you saying that you heard?
Um, you know, keep your weight low and lose some weight and, eat healthy.
Why does that matter? Why does the weight matter?
Yeah, you're gonna stress your heart out. You have all this extra weight on, you're, trying to walk up a flight of stairs and you're out of breath by the time you get up, your heart's only could do so much for, the time.
Yeah, yeah. So when a person comes into our office, right, we do our body composition analysis,
Mhm.
and one of the things that we look at is something called visceral fat. And we
Mhm.
talk about this sometimes, right? Viscera means organs. So
Right.
the visceral fat is the fat that's located on the inside. It's the fat that's kind of surrounding your organs,
Right.
right? So your heart is beating, let's say 60 times a minute, right? Which is, you see, this is the pumping, the
Yep.
heart motion, right? So 60 times a minute, how many times is that in an hour?
Mm, I'm gonna do math.
I think it's 3,600, right? Times 60.
Yeah.
I think it's 3,600. And then throughout the day, I cannot, I don't have that Rain Man thing
Right.
to just calculate it. But it's 3,600 times 24 hours in a day.
Right.
And then you do that. Here, let me do this. I have a thing right here. 3,600 times 24 equals. So that's 86,400 heartbeats in a day
In a day.
times 365 equals, is that 315 million? No, 31,536,000 heartbeats per year.
Wow.
Okay, so you want that particular machine to be working well, right? If you
Right.
have visceral fat, now it's working against pressure,
Right.
so it has to pump harder, right? Have you ever heard of something called cardiomegaly?
No.
No. Okay, most people haven't. Well, actually, most people have. They just haven't heard that word. It's
Mm.
an enlarged heart,
Oh, okay.
right? So the heart's a muscle. It's working harder, and now it actually gets bigger. And a lot of people would think, great, bigger is better, right? Texas
Yeah.
style. Everything that's bigger is better. No, you don't want your heart taking up half of your chest cavity,
Right.
or a greater proportion than that. So that happens. The heart's beating harder. It gets larger. In the meantime, just the fact that it's beating against the pressure increases blood pressure.
Right.
Right? Now the solution is very often to take blood pressure medications,
Mhm.
which have different kind of mechanisms, but basically they artificially lessen that pressure,
Yeah.
right? But it doesn't address the problem in the first place.
Right.
So we want to get rid of visceral fat. We want to get rid of that fat that's internal. Uh, Very often, visceral fat will come from a lifetime of sin.
Cookies and cakes.
Yeah, so it's the cookies and the cakes, but it's also the drinking, uh,
Hmm.
smoking. So we do want to be somewhat temperate. We
Right.
don't want to overdo those things. Um, yeah, because you do see it a lot. What do you
Yeah.
notice, Trish,
Yep.
when you see someone who you suspect has a lot of visceral fat? And this is the kind of thing that maybe 3 years ago before we met, you might not have taken notice of. But do you
Hmm.
notice any specific things about someone who you suspect has a lot of visceral fat?
It's mostly belly fat, right? Like enlarged bellies.
Yeah,
Um,
and it looks firm, doesn't it?
yeah, it's not like I have a lot of loose skin,
Yeah,
from babies and stuff like that. So like my belly is a little flabby weird, but it's almost like very hard round.
yeah, it's hard, and
Hmm.
and men being men, well, even if they have this huge bulbous belly, they'll knock on, it'll be like it's a rock. Check it out.
Right.
And it's like, no, dumbass, because that's not a good thing. Because it's hard. It doesn't matter. The reason it's hard is because that visceral fat is on the inside. It's pushing out against the
Pushing
muscular
out.
wall.
Right.
So that's what you're feeling. And of course, people being people, they'll do stupid things and say stupid things, right?
Right.
So that visceral fat is super dangerous. That has everything to do with longevity, but also, like you were saying before, on a day-to-day basis, you'll notice it walking up a flight of stairs.
Yep. Hmm.
Uh, Sleep apnea, it could worsen that.
Yeah.
You want to hear something really interesting?
Yep.
Visceral fat, the larger kind of that stomach is, the smaller the brain gets.
Really
Yeah,
interesting.
it's a crazy kind of inverse ratio. Uh,
Yeah, that's
but,
interesting.
but that's a thing, and of
Wow.
course it increases inflammation,
Right. Yeah.
right? Okay,
Hmm.
what about do your doctors ever mention supplementation? Have you gone to the doctor with your husband, your kids, yourself, and they say, this is a good idea to do, or it's not?
I will say, not so much. My son, once and recently, they've mentioned like vitamin D. I think I've brought that up. But other than that, no doctor has ever offered any advice for supplements ever.
Okay, how about do they say antioxidants? Do they say,
Nope.
eat blueberries or anything like that? No,
No.
no.
Mm-mm.
So doctors these days, unfortunately, and it's probably better these days than ever, but they see themselves more as strict mechanics and less as educators and less as
Y-
people who
Correct.
want to give you the instructions for how to take care of yourself.
Correct.
So it's nothing. How about your husband? Does he get different advice than you get?
Um, so he has struggled with his weight and being pre-diabetic, and he's gotten himself under control. He has went to one doctor that had actually spoke about portion control and food wise, and that was his thyroid doctor, but never offered anything. It was, oh, if you want to see the what was it? The nutritionist, you can make an appointment and you can speak with her, but other than that, there was never any, "Why don't you try taking this?" Natural, none of that with him.
I think it's a shame. I think doctors of all kinds need to do more. I mean, having
Mhm.
it's a weird conspiracy, right?
Mm,
Doctors and their patients are often involved in a conspiracy. And the conspiracy is this is the doctor is saying, without using these words, right? But he's implying that you can do what you want, and then you don't have to take much responsibility for your health. It's outside of your hands anyway.
yeah,
It's all genetic, and we'll give you the proper medications. And
right,
the patient's like, okay, good. Who the hell wants to take responsibility of their health? Who wants to, eat healthily and exercise and
right.
do the right things? And so it's this wonderful little conspiracy that happens, uh,
Yeah,
but it's not ideal, And to be fair to doctors, I mean that's what the consumer wants in large part, and also they're pressed for time. So they some of them just want to be more like technicians or mechanics. Here, take this,
Yeah.
right? But if heart disease is a lifestyle disease, then we better
Mm.
understand a little bit about proper lifestyle, and
Hmm.
of course we have a choice to make all the time, right? So
Always.
yeah, here's what I'll say. Um, Antioxidants help heart health.
Hmm.
Antioxidants, these are particular kind of nutrients, and their job is kind of to, and I always say this, but there's a process in the body that's like rust. It has a big fancy name, but you can consider it like rust. And
Mm.
it handles that process. It handles the rust in the body.
Mm.
So antioxidants are always a great idea. We talk about blueberries. Coffee has antioxidants. It, dark chocolate
Mm.
has a ton of antioxidants, right? And there are a variety of supplements that you can get that have antioxidants. We do something called molecular hydrogen.
Hmm.
It's a wonderful antioxidant, but that's very heart healthy, right? You can get rid of that rusting process. Uh, Another thing is we have a supplement. You may not know this is kind of interesting also. We have a supplement that gets rid of something called biofilm,
Hmm.
right? Ask me what biofilm is.
What is biofilm?
Well, but okay, now this gets a little icky and gross, all right? So
Okay.
it's something you don't want in your house, right? It's something that if you see on your walls,
Mm.
bathroom or something, you're not going to like it. So biofilm,
Mold.
kind of a filmy material.
Hmm.
I wonder if mold would be considered biofilm or it's its own
Mm.
category. But it's any kind of filmy material, anything that kind of covers things. Very often it's slick, and it's
Okay.
created by microbes, right? These small living things, bacteria, etc. By it, and also sticky substances that it kind of puts out to protect itself. So you got
Mm.
all these little disgusting buggy things and
Yeah.
things it secretes,
Yeah.
and it tends to cover things. So plaque is an example of biofilm, right?
Mm.
But here's the thing: biofilm gets into the arteries, for example. It gunks things up.
Right.
One of our supplements, the purpose of it is to handle this biofilm, which is super important. It's one of the reasons why we get great results like Neil's.
Mm. Yeah.
So I would suggest for people that in this day and age, supplements are obnoxious. Have you ever seen the movie Twins? You love movies.
Twins is Danny DeVito, right? And Arnold.
Danny DeVito and Arnold. What were your thoughts
Yeah.
about that film?
Interesting. I have twins. So I always thought it was so funny.
Not like
Total
that.
opposites. No, but not like that. But total opposites.
They are total opposite. Is one of them muscular and like Schwarzenegger?
Yes, my son is very muscular.
Really?
Very. Yeah. Hmm.
Like that? He's not like that, obviously.
Not like that, but he for 14, he's pretty muscular.
Got it. Okay. Is he lifting yet?
No, he's actually so he's not allowed to lift because of his heart, which
Fair enough.
kind of falls, into that, due to medications he's had, it put a strain on the heart, so they don't want him straining the heart further.
Got it. Got it.
Mhm.
Well, his story is a whole different
Yeah,
thing.
he's a little different. Yeah.
Touched on it. You've been very candid about that, right?
Mhm.
That's some of
Yep.
the things that he's gone through, and I
Yeah.
don't care his physical heart, what's going on with it. I know the kid has a heart of a lion, just
Yeah.
what he's been through.
Yeah. He wants to lift. He wants to, get out there and play football and do all the things, but they just don't want any extra stress added on.
Understood. He's had enough of it, right?
Mhm.
He's had
Right.
plenty of it. Uh, okay, so in the movie Twins, if you remember,
Mhm.
the Schwarzenegger character was raised on the islands.
Mm.
All he ate was fruit and
Fresh.
vegetables and fresh fish from the sea, right? I mean, that's what he.
Mhm.
And then the DeVito character was eating hot dogs and all kinds of crap, right?
Right.
My point is that supplements are kind of obnoxious.
Mm,
We should be able to get the nutrients that we need from food.
right.
In a perfect world, that would be the case. But because of how foods are these days, because of how they're processed, because of additives and chemical sprays
Mhm.
and GMO, supplements, I think, are a very, very good idea. Um,
Absolutely.
there's literally less nutrients in foods these days than there was 50 years ago.
Right.
Okay, so that's why. So I think supplementation should be a part of any heart healthy plan. Okay, so what do we have so far? For those who want to consciously increase the health of their heart and cardiovascular system, what have we discussed so far, Trish?
Supplements are wonderful for you. Get out and move. Get your weight under control. Uh, Come to visit us at FinTech. A good detox for the body.
There's no reason to shamelessly plug our services. That goes without saying, right? But then there was that other thing that we were talking about, though, also, right? What do we start out with?
Um, can you remind me?
You and your discomfort at the prospect of having an unclean, unkempt,
Yeah, stress.
chaotic
Stress
home.
is no good for you.
That's right. That's right. So
Yeah.
it would behoove people to also have some kind of a strategy to handle their stress.
Yeah.
Um, it is not possible to be stress free. Let's just put that out of
Mm-mm.
our minds. It is not possible,
No.
except maybe, after you're dead. And I say maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh, but
So hard to get away from stress.
you can't. How are you going to do it in these days? How
Mm-mm.
are you going to get in this world? There's
Mm.
going to be some level of stress. And who would want to live in a world without stress? Who would
Yeah.
want to live in a world without problems? There's an old joke about that, right? That a guy dies and he goes to his final reward and everything is just perfect, right? I mean, he can like eat whatever he wants. He doesn't get fat.
Mm.
There's nice music playing. There's no kids bothering him. There's no right, and after a while, first he's like, "This is perfect," and then after a while, he's got a problem with it, and he
Mm.
says to God, he's like, you know, "I didn't think I'd have this issue, but everything is too perfect. I've got no problems. I didn't think heaven was going to be like that." And God says to him, "What makes you think this is heaven?"
Mm.
So you see, we need problems. If we don't have problems, we don't have sanity at all.
Yeah.
Having said that, if they overwhelm us, we don't have sanity either.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
some kind of a strategy to deal with our stress. You provided a great one. You handled something that you knew would have been an issue had you not done it. You knew it
Yeah.
would have weighed on you.
Yep.
All right. So everyone needs some kind of a strategy, if that's walking or praying or meditating uh,
Yeah.
or just handling the things that you could handle, uh,
Yeah.
kind of the things that you can't, understanding that you can't, right?
Yeah.
But that will lead to long-term heart health.
Yeah. So important. A little time for yourself, does, really good, whether it's, taking a bike ride or a walk, getting outside, into the sun and looking around. I feel like that's a really big stress reliever for me too. Like I'll take a walk and I'll look at, you guys have mentioned you and, people we work with that get out and look at the trees and look ahead. And it does take a lot off of you when you're stressed out. I do that often. Get outside and do
Yeah,
that.
right. Because living inside of here can be a dangerous place,
Hmm.
right? So
Yep.
if you can get out of your own head,
Yep.
yourself a vacation in that way. Uh,
Yeah. True.
you were just on vacation, and
I
so
was.
what is it that you love most about vacation? Is it the doing things you don't normally do, or is it getting away from those things that you know that you have to confront daily that can be uncomfortable?
No. So I do like to get away to kind of disconnect from everything. And, as a family, we do a lot of group trips with a lot of people. This time it was just the four of us that went away. And it was really nice to just kind of disconnect and be together. But I do enjoy doing things that I don't normally do. I went paddle boarding for the first time, which was super fun. I bike rode our bikes everywhere because we were down on Hilton Head Island, so everything is bike friendly. So we rode our bikes to lunch and for coffee, and those are things I normally would never do here. But now I feel like it made me want to do that more here, if that
Right.
makes sense.
No,
You
it
know?
does. I'm just, I'm just interested. I'm curious in the mechanism of vacation. Like, what is so wonderful about it? Is it more what you're going towards or more what you're going away from?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
I
because
don't know either.
I
I
don't
don't,
know. It was nice to do things I normally wouldn't do.
yeah, years ago, I went on a trip with a bunch of friends, and we went to a Club Med in Martinique.
Ah.
And I remember before we left, I said to one of my friends, which way are we facing on the island?
Mm.
Like, what is that? What the hell does that have to do with anything? Like,
Right.
you're such a weirdo. Like, what does that have to do? I was like, I really want some sunsets.
Ah.
We got there and we were facing west, right? That's where the sunset. Yeah, we were facing
Mm.
west. So every night around sunset, we
Mm.
all like took a swim, a sunset swim.
Nice.
And it was the most peaceful thing you could imagine. My friend said,
Mhm.
you know what? You were right. Uh, you're not such a weirdo.
Yeah.
Uh, but I remember wondering, like, was it the sunset or was that just a prop? Like, could we create that same feeling of serenity no matter where we were, no matter what was happening? The
Mm.
conclusion I've come to many years later is yes, but not all the time.
Right. Yeah. Maybe once in a while. Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So getting away and seeing a sunset, getting away from all of your stressors and problems,
Yeah.
going someplace beautiful where there's nothing to do,
Right.
nothing
Mhm.
that you have to do, but
Nope.
things that you get to do. Yeah, that's
Right.
very therapeutic right there.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, cool. So I think we should end it off now before we start stressing people out.
Okay.
Is there anything that you want to say?
I just think that it's really important to do stuff for you that makes you happy and do a little bit of things that keep you a little stress free for the short amount of time. It definitely helps. And take care of yourself in
Well,
a little bit small ways.
do things that make you happy to the degree that they help your heart.
Yep, absolutely.
Things that can make you happy, at least temporarily,
Yeah,
won't help your heart. So it is not February now. That's generally when we have that
heart
theme
health.
talk about heart,
Hmm.
right? But Jackie and her wisdom saw now as a good time to discuss it. It's probably something we'll discuss more. It is very interrelated with health. It's
Very
very
much.
related with weight loss
Hmm.
and weight maintenance. I think weight control might be a better word than maintenance, right?
Yeah,
So weight control. If nobody else has coined that, I'm going to get some intellectual
I
property.
like it.
So
I
and
like control.
weight control. That's what we're about here. Okay, good. So we'll see everyone next week.
Have a great week.
Take it easy.
Bye.